Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of Screen Facts with Jason Davis, your movie trivia and discussion podcast. Please like us at facebook.com/screenfacts. You can also tweet us at Jason Davis Voice. This podcast is a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Please visit jasondavisvoice.com for information about voiceover services for commercials, internet and corporate videos, e-learning, phone messages, and more. Joining me for this episode of the show, my favorite person in the world. There's no other way to say it.
Who is it?
It's you!
Me?
My wife, Sue.
Wow. Thanks, honey.
Thanks for doing another episode with me. Always fun.
Thanks for having me back.
Well, we're going to talk about a classic horror movie, The Shining.
Red rum. Red rum.
Red rum! Red rum! So the movie was originally released May 23rd, 1980. Estimated budget of $19 million. Domestic gross of $44.7 million, directed by Stanley Kubrick, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Diane Johnson. The original story, of course, was written by Stephen King. And Stephen King, not a fan of this film.
Yeah, definitely not. It's pretty well known that he did not like Kubrick's version.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should spend a lot of time on that, though.
No, we're not.
I don't want to spread negativity.
Stephen King actually said that he thought that the visuals were stunning, but he said it was kind of like a fancy car without an engine.
Oh, okay.
So, of course, the stars of the movie, Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Danny Lloyd, of course, played the little boy.
That's right.
He was so young at the time, and it was his first acting job. They actually were really protective.
I imagine so. I mean, as a mom, I think about these kind of things. Like, so you have a child actor in a movie like this. So how much context do you give the kid for the scene?
Right.
We want you to lay there and look scared, but like, do you tell them why, or do you just tell them lay there and look scared?
Yeah, it's probably a tricky thing because, you don't want to destroy the kid's psyche forever and ever.
Right. And you're sure not going to let them see the finished movie.
Right, exactly, exactly.
For like at least 10 years maybe. And I know like even in the scene where, he's in bed and he's having The Shining and he's seeing what's going on in room 237.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously they don't have him seeing it.
Right. But he does a great job of conveying that.
Yeah.
They ended up filming for almost a full year. Stanley Kubrick had a reputation for being a perfectionist.
Yes.
And he would do a million takes of things, to the point where Shelley Duvall actually had a nervous breakdown on the set.
We'll
get into that a little bit later in the podcast.
He was very, very hard on her.
Yeah, very
They said
much
he was okay with some improvising though.
Okay.
Because Jack Nicholson would do a scene and like even if he messed up a little, he would kind of keep going.
Okay.
So they could play it out and see where it went.
Right.
And then he would tend to turn to the crew and say, "Okay, what do you think? I have something else."
Oh, okay.
And they go, "Yeah, sure, try it."
Nicholson is always great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Not who Stephen King would have cast.
No.
Role.
He said, "Why would you cast someone like that? Because the guy is already crazy. He shows up at the interview. He's already bonkers. So why would you even hire him? Like it's so obvious what's going to happen."
He looks sort of diabolical.
What's those eyebrows?
Yeah, he's just
He's got evil eyebrows.
Yeah, I mean he's cool as hell. I mean Jack Nicholson is always cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely you can see it feels like something's off with him like you said at the interview, and then when they're driving up and they show them driving in the car and she's talking, "Gee, honey," and she's talking about,
Is this where the Dahmer party was?
Yeah, something like that, exactly. Yeah. And he's got a look on his face like, "Oh, I wish she would just shut up."
Oh, yeah. Like she is driving him crazy.
Yeah, and that's before they're even locked into this hotel for the season.
Yeah, well, I think their relationship itself is not a super healthy one to begin with.
Right.
And I mean, it is based partially, of course, what you're given from the book, but he's a former school teacher and currently an author. So he was teaching, but why did he have to leave his teaching job?
His character, the way he's portrayed in the movie, strikes me as a guy who was a teacher, not because he wanted to be. That was how he paid the bills.
Right.
And he had this dream of being a writer.
Right.
But unfortunately, maybe he didn't have the ability to come up with stuff very easily, as is demonstrated in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I think the book does address like maybe more specific reasons that you really kind of have to just infer in the film, but like, really you had to leave the teaching job? What'd you do? Plus he's 5 months sober, so he's been drinking.
Right, he's had a history of alcoholism and, and maybe he's been a little rough with the kid.
Right.
Probably more than once, only one that we know about for sure.
Right.
Because they talk about it.
With the doctor.
With the doctor, yeah.
And you know what? A lot of people go, oh, Shelley Duvall, I didn't really like her in it. You know, Stephen King even was like, she's a scream queen. But, you know, you do have people who do appreciate her take on the character, even though it is so different from the book. Because when she's talking to the doctor, she's holding the cigarette real nervously, and her eyes are like real big, and you know, and it's like, oh, and it never happened before, and it never happened again. And a lot of people think she's flat out lying to the doctor at that point. It's an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
He yells at her. Who knows if he yells, hits the boy.
He clearly isn't a good guy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that Stephen King had the problem with, because in the book, maybe he had issues, but he wasn't a monster. The character is a little more sympathetic in the book in that he kind of slowly corkscrews into madness and all that.
Slow descent.
Yeah, the slow descent into madness. If you're a fan of the book, you have to go into this movie. I'll equate it to Van Halen.
Okay.
To me, Van Halen are two different bands. Van Halen with David Lee Roth, Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, right? You have to go into the movie treating it as a totally different thing.
Oh, yeah.
Don't compare it to the book, because Stanley Kubrick clearly wasn't interested in making a movie based on Stephen King's book completely. Yeah. And I think that's why Stephen King did the miniseries in 1997.
Yeah, he did. That was more close to what he
Because he wanted something on the screen that was more of his vision.
Right.
If you look at The Shining, the movie, on its own, without knowing where, you know, the source material, which I don't technically because I never read the book, it's a pretty scary movie. It's a little slow at times.
Yeah, some of the pacing of the scenes, it's just, it's drama.
Yeah, I think the pacing could definitely have used a little bit of a jolt. I think the movie clocks in at about 2 hours, 20 minutes.
Okay.
So the exterior shots are the Timberline Lodge on Mount Hood in Oregon, which is magnificent.
Yeah.
I mean, the scenery. But the opening shot, like the, I guess the helicopter shot.
Yeah, where they're driving in?
Yeah, that's Montana, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the Timberline Lodge was used for the front exterior, but all of the interiors as well as the back of the hotel were specially built at Elstree Studios in London.
Right.
I also read that it was shot in the same studio where they filmed part of Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, cool.
Some of the fake snow was used in the Hoth scenes.
Oh, nice. The door scene.
Yes.
I read that it took him 3 days and almost 60 doors were used.
So originally they built doors that were easy to break through.
Okay.
The only problem with that is that Jack Nicholson had worked as a volunteer fire marshal. And so he had the ability to break through doors pretty well, because that's what he did.
Oh.
They had to build a stronger door.
Yeah.
So 3 days to film, and they went through like 60 doors.
Yeah. There was an interview with Shelley Duvall, what was your personal experience of this? And she said it was almost like some sort of primal scream therapy.
Yeah.
Almost unbearable, but from other points of view, really nice, I suppose. I mean, after the day was over and I cried for my 12 hours, I went home very contented.
Yeah.
It was very calming.
Even the nervous breakdown she had, and she got physically ill to the point where her hair was falling out.
Yeah.
I mean,
and she almost
crazy.
left the acting industry completely after the filming of this.
Yeah, and I also read that the reason she took Popeye, which was like right after this, was because she just wanted to be on a fun set, not so crazy.
Wow, from Kubrick to Robin Williams.
Yeah,
that'll turn your life around.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's awesome.
But even Nicholson, who got along with Kubrick, I read that he would go home after the day's filming because the days were really long, and he would just pass out. Because, I mean, not only the length of time that they're filming, they're bringing up a lot of stuff. You know? Think about this. When you get upset about something, if you have an argument and you cry or you yell a lot, you're friggin' exhausted.
It's true. Tired. A good cry will wear you out.
Yeah.
I know
and that's
that.
just crying over frustration or whatever. But like to have to, pretend that you're being chased by an axe-wielding nut job.
Yeah.
That's probably very tough, especially when you're doing take after take after take. So.
And then how do you walk away from that at the end of the day? You got to take off your character as well as you put it on. Oh, that's the acting teacher in me talking.
Yeah. I can't imagine Jack Nicholson wants to stay in the mindset of Jack Torrance once the cameras stop rolling.
Wouldn't want him to.
Oof. Yeah, no.
Hey, can we talk about the twins?
Of course.
We want you to play with us forever and ever.
Yeah.
And that's so creepy because later on, when Danny was sitting on Jack's lap, he goes to get his fire truck, and Wendy says, "Don't wake him," but Jack's already up.
Right.
And so Jack's like, "Come here," and you're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And Danny sits on his lap, and he's like, he doesn't hug him back. His arms are just hanging there.
Yeah.
Which is why I think he's abused.
Oh yeah, totally.
But Jack says to him, "I wish we could stay here forever and ever." And I was like,
right.
"Ooh, the hotel's getting a grip on him."
Yeah.
The hotel really is its own character. if you think about it.
Yeah. So the other thing too that I read was that the iconic "Here's Johnny" line almost didn't make it into the movie.
Really?
Because Stanley Kubrick didn't understand that it was a Johnny Carson reference because he wasn't, I think he was from England, or he spent most of his time in England, so he wasn't that familiar with, he wasn't that familiar with Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show, which is obviously what that's a reference to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the most famous thing. And it's funny, I read a tweet from comedian Pete Holmes the other day, and he said the poster for The Shining gives away like a major spoiler.
Oh, that's true, him coming through the door.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. I never really thought about it, but I thought that was a great tweet. Let's talk a little bit about visually some of the great things in this movie. The scene where he's throwing the tennis ball. In the script, it just said, "Jack's not working." And Nicholson came up with that himself, with throwing the ball. And I got to tell you, Jack Nicholson has a pretty good arm.
Okay, yeah.
I'm watching him throw that ball.
Because it's a big space.
Yeah, but I mean, just you could tell that he's throwing, he's really throwing that ball, know. And that's a really cool scene. And you can kind of feel like that's part of the slow descent into madness.
Yeah, yep.
I love the scene where Danny's riding the big wheel.
I was just going to say that. I love that.
Yeah, the continuous scene where the camera is right behind him, following him, and he goes through the kitchen and around, and Yep.
The kitchen itself was a maze.
Yeah.
Like the one outside. But I also loved the fact that it was the hardwood floors, and then the sound changes when he's on the carpet.
Right. You pointed that out when we were watching.
It's so cool, and then it's the harsh sound of the floors, and the softer sound of the carpet. The harsher sound of the floors.
Very cool.
So cool.
Nice little details.
Yeah. I mean, what would I guess he's supposed to be 5 or 6. What else would he be doing?
Yeah.
There's nothing to do.
Yeah. There's only so much you can play with cars and fire trucks and things like that, I guess.
I mean, I loved how he had the cars set up on the carpet like he was using the pattern of streets.
Yeah.
That's a very typical little boy thing.
There's some very cool camera angles, too. The camera angle that I really like is when Wendy locks Jack in the food storage closet and he's leaning against the door, and the camera, it's the point of view like you're like he's laying on the floor looking up at him. Very cool.
Yeah. What I really noticed watching this time around was just the sense of isolation that they build in. And they talk about it a little because they've traveled 3.5 hours to get there from Denver. So they're in the Rockies somewhere. But Mr. Ullman says, it's a 25-mile country road. Sometimes there's 20 feet of snow on it.
Right.
You can almost feel
you can feel the
it just
claustrophobia
closing in on you as he says
I was
that.
actually going to ask you if you ever could imagine yourself doing what they did. Locking yourself in a hotel like that, just us.
I love you, honey, but I might go stir crazy.
Yeah, I think I definitely would.
Yeah.
I think I would.
And he even says, a lot of times the phones are out till spring.
Exactly.
And then so they had the radio, and then when Jack disables the radio, it's like, oh my gosh, that was it. That was the final communication out.
Yeah.
It's just so scary. And the only way to get in was on one of those snowcats. And that was just like this mean little machine that could drive
it's like a
over.
bulldozer kind of thing. Yeah.
I always felt so bad for Dick Halloran. He makes the effort. He flies out.
Yeah. He's enjoying life in Miami. I mean, Miami's, he's sweating his ass off in Miami.
Yeah.
Record heat and all that.
Right.
But it's still, Miami's got to be much better than 20 feet of snow in Colorado, right?
Right. And it's so funny because, there he is watching TV and they specifically bring up, hey, look at all the snow they're getting out there.
Right.
Oh, that's convenient that he found out that way.
The guy that he calls to arrange the snowcat to get up to try and help them, the actor is Tony Burton, who in all 6 of the original Rocky movies, Rockies 1 through 5, and then Rocky Balboa, played Duke. Originally, he was Apollo Creed's trainer. I think that's kind of interesting because around the time that this was being made, they were working on Rocky 2.
Okay.
And the guy that did the Steadicam for this had a very specific time frame that he was available because he was also scheduled to work on Rocky 2. So that's kind of funny.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, and hey, the guy who played Mr. Ullman, I thought I read somewhere that it said he was the first James Bond, and he was.
Oh, very interesting.
Not in a feature film.
Okay.
When it was a live 1-hour show on CBS in 1954.
How about that?
But he was the first James Bond.
They actually filmed this movie in order, in sequence.
They did.
Yeah. I think that the design of that, they wanted the actors to really feel that descent into madness. So.
Yeah. Interesting, though, because if it was a year and Danny was a year older, because he doesn't seem, because we've seen some movies where they go back and they film additional stuff and put it in, you can tell because the kid looks different.
Yeah, but he was at an age though.
Consistent.
Yeah, but if he was at an age, I don't know how old he was when they started filming, but let's say he's 4. From 4 to 5, you're not going to change that much.
You grow. You do grow. You would grow out
Yeah,
of your
but-
costumes.
They can redo the costumes. That's no big
just
deal.
saying,
I'm saying it's not like he's going to have a growth spurt like he's hitting puberty.
No.
He's going to grow. He maybe grows a little bit in that time, but not enough that it's going to be noticeable. Like his voice isn't changing
Right.
or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
I don't know. And there's Wendy. Not only do I wonder, what does a 5-year-old do, for entertainment, but the mother of a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
She goes along because, probably she feels she has to.
Right.
I mean, this is their option right now, and she'll do it. But she's really not thrilled to be
No.
there. She smiles and she's nice to the other people in the
Yeah.
scene, in the beginning. But then, if you notice, her expression just gets more and more somber.
I think she's
whole time.
clearly being abused, like you said.
The way he talks to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So by the time she is screaming as he's coming through the door, she's just letting it all out because she's probably
Sure.
never screamed like that before in her life.
Yeah. When she comes in, so how's it going?
Oh, he goes, yeah.
You hear me typing, Wendy. When you hear me typing, that means I'm working. When you come in here, you break my concentration.
That's good.
I'm not really an impressionist, but
No, that was pretty good.
But that scene is very disturbing
It
because
is because she takes it.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
because
she's
he's
like-
how the fuck should I know? Or whatever.
Yeah.
He really lays into her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine
Yeah.
being spoken to and not having something to say back.
Right. No reaction. Just
She's
she
like-
walks out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gonna go make a sandwich.
I think it's all part of the. Wow, this is crazy. This movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to mention, you talked about her locking him in the food pantry. When they first take the tour of the kitchen,
Yeah.
it's so stark.
Yeah.
And that one shot where it's the knives.
Yeah.
And it's
Foreshadowing.
That's something's going to happen there.
Yeah.
But when they start showing all the food, I am just amazed.
Yeah.
The size of that can of fruit salad
Yep.
is so huge. You have to open the whole thing.
Right. Of course.
I'm like, oh, are they going to eat all that? That's going to go bad.
Yeah,
And all
exactly.
the meat.
Yeah.
Oh, just amazing. I'm like, yeah, that is 5 months worth of food.
Yeah, it has
My
to
only
be.
concern was I was like, I see all the cereal boxes, but what about milk? Because milk, they must have had powdered milk because that's not
Yeah,
going
they
to stay
must have.
fresh, right?
Yeah. There's no way. There's no milk that stays fresh for 5 months.
No.
No, definitely not.
They didn't have Parmalat back then.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about that. Milk that you don't have to refrigerate until you open it, that seems a little weird to me.
I've had that in the past.
No, me too.
It's good.
Me too. But
I would
how do-
keep it in the cabinet for
I
emergencies.
want to know how that works, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off track here.
Sorry.
So any other thoughts about the movie?
The maze.
How can we
didn't
talk about The
the
Shining and not talk about The Maze,
We
right?
didn't talk about the maze at all. I believe there was a scene that either just didn't get filmed or was deleted where Wendy actually is reading the instructions of the maze to Danny.
Okay.
So that kind of might help explain why he's pretty good at getting around.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows them in there.
Yeah, they walked around and they found their way
Yeah.
once, so you
Right.
maybe have to suspend disbelief a little
That
bit
is
that he's
tricky. That
able to
is
get out of
really
there
tricky.
again.
And I'm watching this going, just go to the right, just go to the right,
Yeah.
because I've been taught by firefighters that, if you're in that kind of a situation, you just always go to the right and you will always make your way out because you'll make it through all your options and then you'll keep going.
Okay. I like when he's being chased by Nicholson, how
Yes.
he walks in his own footprints. Were you going to
Yeah.
say that? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Very
That-
clever for a little boy.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, when you realize, because it shows him running
Mm-hmm.
and it's got Nicholson behind him and he's hunched over because he's hurt from falling.
Yeah.
And he's looking, and I'm like, oh my God, this kid's never going to escape. And then when it suddenly dawns on him and he starts backing up,
Yep.
and you're like, yes, good. Oh my gosh, he's so smart. He's so smart.
Yep.
And then you realize he's been running, so it's big steps. So when he's backing up, it's actually difficult for him to.
Yep.
And then he's wobbling a little, and
Yep.
then they show Jack Nicholson approaching, and it's like, is he going to do it? Can he do it? Can he do it?
Daddy!
The first time I saw that totally blew my mind. It still blows my mind.
Yeah.
I still get anxious.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Thinking
that's,
he's
that's
not
the
gonna get
thing.
out, you know?
You know, that's the great thing about this movie, and I think why it has stood the test of time, that we've seen this movie a number of times now. You're still biting your nails,
Yeah.
figuratively speaking.
Seeing it the first time and hearing the red rum, and
Yes.
thinking, what the heck is that?
That
And
voice
not
is
until he
fantastic,
writes
too.
it out and you see it in the mirror, you
Yep.
go, oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
it is awesome.
So, I think in closing, we certainly have to mention that there's a sequel to this movie or a continuation of the story that's coming out very soon, actually.
That is very true. We saw the
trailer.
poster and the trailer for it at the movie theater, Dr. Sleep. It's Danny grown up. Most people feel that Danny says Tony's the little boy who lives in my mouth.
Yeah.
Most people say that Tony is actually Danny's future self.
Oh, interesting.
Like coming back to try to help him.
Oh, okay.
Because his name is Daniel Anthony.
Okay.
The trailer for Dr. Sleep looks really cool, and it's Danny grown up.
And he meets a girl with
And
The
he
Shining.
meets a girl who has The Shining, and hilarity does not ensue.
No.
It just gets,
Yeah.
It looks really good.
I'm sure it's going to be really cool. And,
Yeah.
and the cool thing about it is that, now that they have the ability to do special effects a lot easier
Yeah,
and this
true.
and that. So I'm sure there's going to be some cool visuals in it as well.
Yep. So they did a limited theatrical re-release of The Shining. They recently restored it, and they remastered it to 4K.
Ooh.
And put it out for 2 different nights to kind of build interest, and now
Sure.
Dr. Sleep will come out next
makes
week, I
sense.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So cool.
Yeah.
King when he writes a
He's a
book,
master.
he creates a world.
Yeah.
And I think Kubrick, when he does a movie, he creates a world.
Right.
So it didn't match exactly. Come on, I'm fine with it.
Like I said, if you go into the movie just watching it for what it is,
Yeah.
a Stanley Kubrick movie that's a thriller and disturbing and visually beautiful and everything else, and don't compare it to the source material,
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just like if you don't compare Van Halen with David Lee Roth to Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, you can actually enjoy both. Why are you rolling your eyes? I think that's a great metaphor.
Oh, my eyes are stuck. Ow, okay.
There are people that are going to listen to this podcast that are going to be like, yes, Jason, you are absolutely right.
Oh, okay. So you're saying it could be like on Bewitched, which Darren? It's one Darren and another Darren.
No, because that was just a weird recasting. They never explain anything, and it's just bizarre.
I'm just trying to be a pain in the neck.
Yeah. And you're succeeding.
Yes!
So that's all I got.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Even though the movie's long, I think it is time very well spent.
Oh, absolutely. I only say that because Shawshank Redemption, which is probably my favorite movie of all time, is about the same length as this. It never feels slow to me.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all I'm saying.
Interesting.
That's all. Well, thanks so much for being a part of another episode. Always fun.
Thank you, honey.
Always a joy to do one of these with you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the pleasure is all mine.
I'd like to come back forever and ever.
The Screen Facts with Jason Davis podcast is a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Please visit jasondavisvoice.com to find out all the details of all the ways we can service your voiceover needs. Please like the Screen Facts Facebook page, leave your comments or questions, facebook.com/screenfacts, and again, you can tweet me at JasonDavisVoice. Thank you so much for listening.
Red rum!